9 podcasts.
Hello and welcome to episode 3 of AFLW Weekly. Sarah Burt here with my trusty sidekick. She loves it when I call her that, Georgie Parker.
That's me, and it's been a week.
It has been a week,
But
George.
both like figuratively and literally,
Yeah.
hasn't it?
Yeah, it has literally been a week since we last were in your ears, but there has been a lot happening in the AFLW world. So we wanted to briefly touch on that at the top because it is very relevant to this podcast, but also it's something so important that we can't just skim past. So what we are talking about, Georgie, is this morning Mitch Brown, who played 10 seasons for the West Coast Eagles. He spoke to the Daily Oz off the back of the Isaac scandal that we have been hearing about the last few weeks, a homophobic slur, the 6th player to be banned for that this year. Mitch Brown came out and spoke to the Daily Oz and said, I am actually bisexual. I knew I was when I was playing AFL, but I didn't feel comfortable to be myself. And he is the first player in the history, is it 129 years of the AFL, to actually ever come out and not be heterosexual, which is A, astounding, but B, a really huge, brave, positive act. I want to get your opinion on it. My initial thoughts are that the reason that it is so relevant to our podcast today based on AFLW is that I don't think if AFLW didn't exist and it wasn't such a welcoming, inclusive environment, I am not sure that we would be here yet.
I completely agree. I think that female sports in general is at the forefront when it comes to inclusion, be it inclusion of your sexuality, of your race, of whatever, of your religious beliefs. I think that AFLW is a place that people have always been told no. So now we're like, no, anyone can come and do this. And I think that if the W didn't exist, there wouldn't be as much accountability for the men's players when these sorts of things have happened. I don't think there would be as much accountability when the fans were doing this, because now it hits the clubs a little bit closer. You think of Adelaide Crows, for example, where the players had to stand up and Jordan Dawson had to stand up in front of the Adelaide women's team, apologise. Isaac Rankin called Ed Marinoff, the captain, called Chelsea Randall as well to apologise for his behaviour.
And apparently, sorry to interrupt, but I did their game on the weekend and Phil Harper, we just did a media briefing beforehand, Phil Harper was saying he is actually getting in front of the whole women's team this week to address that, which, I mean, he'll probably hate that, but good.
He'll hate that, but the learning process from that will be enormous.
Yes.
And it's like... And this is adjacent to it. It's like when Tom Morris said those misogynistic comments. They weren't homophobic as such. They were more misogynistic. And he reached out to every female that he's worked with before to apologise and to learn. And so this mistake, it's not to say that those mistakes are right and are okay, but to learn from them is the best outcome possible from that. That's happened. It's been done. Can he learn from it and appreciate and understand why these words matter? Same kind of principle there. So you see this growth from the individual players, growth from the league, and then hopefully growth from the fans, which is growing society. And that is why AFLW is so important, because they're literally changing society and the societal standards that we have accepted for way too long. And now they're changing. And there are so many people out there who are in privileged bodies, whether they're in white bodies, male bodies, whatever bodies they're in, they're in privileged bodies, and they don't quite understand. So many women in the AFLW do understand.
Absolutely. I think that there is a bit of a strange thing in that it's not about me, but me personally, I am a very lucky, privileged person. I am white, I am middle class, I am heterosexual, and to me, none of that matters. But it would be remiss of me not to acknowledge that puts me in a privileged position. So things like this that I feel really passionate about and I almost feel emotional about, so I can't imagine people that are actually in that position, how they feel. But I feel so grateful to people like Mitch and all of our AFLW players and our whole AFLW community that stick up for themselves and their friends, and people like Mitch who are willing to put themselves out there and say, you know what, he knew that was a big deal. In that interview, he was nervous before he spoke. He knows that he is the first person to ever come out and say that, and he did say in the interview it was a split-second decision. As soon as I heard about Isaac saying those words, I knew that it was time for me to make that call. I can't imagine what it's like for someone like him to have that pull and know this is my job now. And I just think we should all be, no matter what stage of life, what privilege or not privileged position we're in, I think we should all just be so grateful that maybe, hopefully, this is the start of a wave of people feeling like they can be themselves, and the job that they have should not depict who they are and how they move through the world.
Well, I hope, the whole goal is that we don't have this sense of privilege, that, that if you're gay, that you don't feel less, and these are the conversations that are starting that. And I reached out to a couple of my friends who are openly gay in the AFLW, and I said, what does this mean? And one of them said, for me, it breaks the silence. I've never saw any sign of ending. And on the back of that, I've hoped people can have conversations about the importance of authenticity and identity inside the AFL and be genuine about it.
Wow.
So
that's really powerful,
isn't it? So it's the conversation starters that the AFL has a really important job to create social change. And so many people say keep politics out of sport. Well, it is a joiner. Sport's a joiner. It is so important that sport actually creates these conversations.
It's a microcosm of society, isn't
it? Exactly. And they need to be at the forefront of social change. And while we can talk a long time about the AFL going backwards on the suspension of Isaac Rankin, this is a huge step in hopefully what would be a snowball reaction to some more men particularly feeling comfortable in their sexuality within this beautiful game that has accepted so many women like this. So I don't know why it's going to be, hopefully, on the other side of the fence. There's some change there too after this. Very, very powerful from Mitch. And a nice, good, feel-good story after some really ugliness online for the last 2 weeks.
All right, George, let's get into our I believe that you have a special surprise for me.
Things that make you go, Things that make you go,
Yes, I do. This is actual live audio from me on the weekend. Go, Amelia, go.
What's just happened?
So, there's an ice cream van there selling just 2 ice creams with 2 chewing gums in it.
Yeah.
For bloody £9 for 2 of them.
£9 for 2?
Yeah, £9. That is going to get nowhere. The one that comes on my street is either £1 a p or £2. That is going to get nowhere with that.
No, he ain't, is it?
No, he ain't.
That's well bad, isn't
Yeah,
it?
you should know. And he only does bloody card. Stood there with my cash. Bloody hell.
That's well bad, isn't it?
Bloody well bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet he can hear me.
Where did you find that? She actually looks like a mini you.
Well, that was me on the weekend because I went to 2 W games on the weekend. I want to watch Collingwood get their first win, and I also went and watched North demolish Port Adelaide. $25 for 3 soft serve ice cream cones. I'm sorry. I took my niece and nephew and said, yeah, Arnie G will get you an ice cream. I could not believe it. Anyway, so that is my home. That is a indeed.
Arnie G had to go and mortgage her house.
That's why I don't own a home. I tell you what, that is why. That is a big, solid What is going on? Where do they get off thinking that $8.50 for an ice cream? It's plain, just one little chocolate.
Did they enjoy the ice cream?
One of them didn't finish it. He put it in the ground. I said, mate,
That's actually rude.
You need a lesson It wasn't even, to be honest, wasn't even that good. I was really disappointed.
You could've
Anyway,
gone
so
to Macca's.
that's my inflation. I thought we were figuring that out.
No, it's a good one. Because one of the good things about AFLW is
Price.
you don't have MCG prices. $15 tickets, kids go free. Kids go free? Yeah, kids go free. And the food trucks there, Savlaki van, there's always good options.
It was $15 for chips and gravy there, but
That
it
is
was
heckers.
incredible chips and gravy, I
Yeah.
will say. But anyway, so that's my...
You need to take that up to the big man, I think.
Sorry. Excuse me, Dills. There's a lot going on at the moment, but can you please sort out the soft serve price at Arden Street?
That's why I'm picky, cause I'm just too damn busy. Turn the L's into W's.
All right, George, let's get into our L's and W's for the week. I've got quite a
I
list.
was about to say, do I have any space? You've chucked in the rundown here. And I'm just going to let you go off here.
I've actually pasted my own article, so I remembered what I needed to say. How about? Do you want to go first? You go first.
No.
Okay.
No, I don't have a W today.
Okay.
You go.
My main W is as a cross-code fan. I love netball. I love every sport, but I love netball. I love, obviously, footy. And a few weeks ago, Liv Lewis, who plays for the Melbourne Mavericks, came out and said, it was actually at their awards night, which I was emceeing. She announced it and no one really in the room knew about it. It was really exciting. They had this little video where she won an award, and then I said, what's happening next season for you? And they'd record a little video of her throwing a footy up in the air and saying, I'm going to give footy a go. She's not on a list. She is being pursued by a couple of clubs, but I mean, the season was about to start, but she has really bravely stuck her neck out and said, I'd love to pursue footy and I'm going to give it a red hot crack, which I love. It's really brave to go from an elite sport to saying, I'm going to give this other sport a go. It might not make AFLW, but I'm going to give it a whirl.
See, I see another side of this.
Yep.
Whereas I get really sad at cross-coders, not because, cool, live out your dream, do these things. I get sad for the other sports. Now netball's now just lost one of their star players. You know what I mean? So I see the other side to this. So I see I'd finished playing my sport. I'd already retired before I moved over. I'd be really sad if AFLW, with all the money and the time on TV and the opportunities around it, which they're starting to pick players out from other sports, these other sports really will struggle. So I see the other side of that.
I get that.
Yeah. Because, and especially netball, who has done such a good job of being what I think is the premier women's sporting league in the country. I think
it's number one participation.
I think it's the highest standard by a long way.
Yeah.
They're incredible athletes, and the performance they do on game day and everything, I love going to their games. I get really sad that they can do everything right. They just can't pay them the same.
Yep.
And so then I see like an excitement level for this person to get to live out this dream of like, hey, yeah, you can play footy. You've always watched footy as kids growing up and now you get to do it. But this little carrot over here of particularly the money. Yeah, so I see two sides to that.
Well, I think it's good that when we have different opinions on this, you're probably not going to like the next part of this then, because Maisie Nankivell, her teammate this week, has said she wants to give AFLW a go. She has played AFLW before. She played for the Crows. When was it? 2019. So, and
good
she only
runner,
played,
Macy, as well. Really good runner.
and you see that in netball too.
Yeah.
The reason I put this as my W from an AFLW perspective, and I do agree with what you're saying. I think it's a
I'm looking
double-edged
at
sword.
women's sport perspective, not AFLW. Great for a W.
Yeah. And I think it's important because when we look at women's sport, we want it to look at it in a holistic way. But I do think from an AFLW perspective, we started from a place, and I hope you don't mind me saying this about you, George, but we started from a place early on where they plucked elite athletes from other sports like hockey, netball, wherever, basketball, because we needed to build a league that didn't exist.
Yeah.
So you want elite athletes to come in and then we're going to build that. Now we're seeing athletes seeing this as a destination sport.
And back when I was doing it, it was a different. We had a different point. I was never going to go there and be a star. Although I will say, one of my teammates, Georgia Nanscowan, is now becoming an absolute star. I think she finished 7th in the best and fairest of the league last season.
Change yourself, George.
Oh, no.
You smashed it.
I was too old. But we were brought in, and I knew my role. We were brought in to create elite athlete standards and habits. So I was there going like, all right, come with me to the gym. Okay, come with me to running. Okay, come with me. This is how we take on feedback. This is how we do all of this. Nowadays, they already know that. And so it's much harder to be a cross-coder, I will say, unless you do have the height or the tank. It's much harder now to be a cross-coder, which is a good thing because the league's now got more depth. But they're different roles now. But I agree in saying that it shows the progression of, the $8,000 I earned when I played AFLW. No one's changed
Shit,
it.
what'd you do with that?
I know, it's pretty good stuff compared to now. If you're on a list and you're earning, next year I think it's about 75,000 as the base level on a list. Compared to that would be one of the top tier players in the netball.
Yeah.
So it's very, very hard for these other sports to compete. In saying that, that's how it is in the men's as well. Sports like netball, they're doing everything they can.
It is. And as with everything, there's two sides to it. Do you have an L for this week?
My L, I mean, it's just an extension from last week. I look at the Giants and they lost against Collingwood, who Collingwood are not going to be a powerhouse at all this year. They'll be, you'd assuming,
Wouldn't have thought.
They're going to be bottom 3 or 4 quite easily. I think they just don't have the depth. Giants lost them and quite emphatically as well. The scoreline wasn't huge, but Collingwood couldn't kick straight, particularly in the opening half. And the Giants had a couple of goals against play. But I look at this and I look at the overall club and how the trajectory of that club, how that's going to go. And we look at this tier system that I just spoke about, and it's tier 1 to 4. And our club's already getting annoyed by that because they're not able to extend contracts correctly and things like that because they don't know if the tier system's going to exist by the end of, I think, 2027. I look at this, though, and we used to have the COLA for the men for a long time over from Sydney. There is none of that in the W. And how are Giants going to recruit anyone coming into their club on, at the moment, it's $50,000 to $60,000 a year to move to Western Sydney, which isn't a destination area. It also is an expensive area. So I don't know how, unless they're getting some form of help from the AFL, is a club like Giants going to really increase the depth in their particularly senior players. They're going to get players in the draft now, which is now a national draft. They will get them. But after 2 years, they'll go, I cannot afford this. I'm going back home to live with mum. I'm going to go back home and live somewhere where it's cheaper, whatever it may be. So I do get concerned about the longevity of particularly Western Sydney because I don't understand. Well, there is no pool there.
Yeah.
There is
and there's
no pool.
the added...
Sydney's now in the...
Well, I was going to say the Swans have some of the best facilities in the AFL and AFLW.
In a premiership window?
They are fantastic, the women's team. They have so much depth. They've got the best coaching, best S&C.
And they're in a premiership window with the brand of the Swans, which is known to have, which has always been in the men's side. It's been a big pull to go there because of the business connections that you have on the other side of your career. Giants don't have that. No. So I'm really concerned. And when we look at the AFLW, a healthy bottom end of the comp is a healthy comp.
Yep.
You're always going to have ups and downs. I just don't see this side. It's never made finals. I don't see them improving. From year to year, particularly last 4 years, we've not seen them improve. Where is that improvement going to come? And are they a club that needs help? And in a league that is already asking for a lot of help from the men's competition already, is that even something that's possible, viable in the W? I don't know, but I don't want to see this continual bottom-feeding club. that's not nice in the men's. It's not nice in the women's. So that for me is a loss, seeing them lose again to another, what will be a bottom side. But I'm not worried about Collingwood. No one needs to be worried about Collingwood in terms of as a club, because they're always going to be a destination club.
Yeah. Okay, Georgie Parker, you've got your weekly top 5 for me. Hit me.
I do. Now I've got my top 5. It's Indigenous round this weekend, spread over 2 weeks. So I've got my top 5 Indigenous AFLW players.
Okay.
So number 5, Dakota Davidson, 2-time premiership player, 1 All-Australian, 2-time leading goal kicker for the Lions in both premiership years.
That name just makes me laugh.
Dakota Davidson.
Just hilarious. But like, not her.
Or just her.
Sorry.
You're just imaging her.
I'm picturing the
weird thing
way she distracts people. From goals.
Yeah,
hilarious. Dax is a legend.
Isn't she? Number 4, Georgie Prasparkas. We know that the growth that she's going to have, particularly when she's fit and healthy. Best and fairest as a youngster, and All-Australian, I think, in her first year as well. Gemma Houghton, number 3, an absolute star, 2-time All-Australian player, 4-time club leading goal kicker. She really is a gorgeous kick of the ball, isn't she? And she was really the only shining light for Port on the weekend just gone. Number 2, Georgie's older sister, Maddie Prasparkas, AFLW best and fairest in the unfortunate year of 2020 when she's winning it from home, the poor thing. 3-time All-Australian, 4-time club best and fairest in the AFLW Rising Star. And number 1, you can't go past Ali Anderson. Most AFLW games by an Indigenous player, 93 games. So she hopefully will hit that 100 games, which is equivalent to 200. So Eb Marinoff spoke about how she was drafted the year of Hugh McCluggage, who's just played 200. And she and her will probably play 100 both this year. AFLW best and fairest in 2022 season 7. No AA that year, go figure. 2-time premiership player, 3 times All-Australian and 4-time Brisbane best and fairest, and not dropping off at all. So that's my top 5 Indigenous all AFLW players.
I love it. Love it. Ali is Ali's a good number 1.
Ali, she's a star.
She's
an absolute star, and
We
also
love
the
her.
fact she's in Brisbane, people just don't talk about it.
No.
It's like
Except
Turbo.
when you see her in a final and you're like,
It's like Turbo. Like these interstate players just go like, oh, we're just here. We're just existing.
Speaking of Turbo, this week's guest is a stalwart of the W game. Kiara Turbo Bowers has been in the game since the first season, 9 years. That's 10 seasons ago. Freo midfielder, 4-time All-Australian, best and fairest winner, and mother of 2. She missed last year's season while she was pregnant with her second child, who is now here in the world, Luca. Less than a year on from having him, she has returned. And she's back in the game and absolutely killing it, George. Thanks so much for joining us, Turbo. Well, firstly, congratulations on the new addition to your family. It's such a special time, obviously, for you guys, but so important for us as a league to see professional female athletes coming back, adding to their family, and not having to make that huge final choice between having a family and having a professional sporting career. So welcome back. How does it feel to be back?
It's good. It's good. Obviously, after the first game, I was a bit sore. But look, I'm so lucky that I was able to do both, be a footballer and a mum, and yeah, lucky that the club really helped me juggle that. So, no, very lucky.
Well, I can imagine why you are sore, because you had basically the same stats from prior to being a mother. Nothing has missed a beat at all. You've come back and did you win the time trial? Because if you did, can you get in the bin? That's just not fair.
In the bin, please.
Yeah, how did you do that? How did you find coming back from that? I mean, people like, you're having a long time out of the game. How did you find your body, and how did you work your way back and be kind to yourself on your transition back into being an athlete?
Yeah, look, you kind of mentioned it. You kind of have to be kind to yourself. It is kind of like having an injury, giving birth in some ways. But I took a very good chunk of time and just got the body right. And then when I actually wanted to, and that's a part of it as well, I wanted to spend so much time with my, our new addition. But then when I wanted to come back, I made sure I had the help of the docs and the physios, and they helped me ease back into it, not go full blown into it, which, is kind of what I normally do. But the club helped me with that. And yeah, luckily I was able to keep the endurance side of it and the running, but the strength side of it, I've definitely lost some of that.
So, very good answer there, but did you win the time trial?
I actually drew. I drew with Tilly Banford, who she's a phenomenal runner.
Or so are you then.
Yeah, exactly right. That is
It's a
insane.
nice way to say, yeah, I'm phenomenal.
Yeah.
The person I was
What of it?
the person I was equal with is also phenomenal.
And you had invited her to go get in the bin, so off you pop. Now, Turbo, you guys didn't have a really simple birth, and I'm not sure how much you'd like to go into this, but you guys, you went through IVF, and Luca was born premature. So it's, it's not like everything was straightforward and then you could come back and everything was just smooth sailing. That must have been quite a full-on experience for you guys as a family.
Yeah, it was easily the hardest time of our lives. I like to think that I had a really, really easy life until that moment. I gave birth to him at 32 weeks. He was very wanted to come, and that was it. And then we spent 5 weeks in the NICU, but with a couple of issues that happened. He had a brain bleed, and he got very, very sick with sepsis. So it was very sketchy for a while there. But if you look at him now, you would never tell. He's a big chunk. That is the happiest kid you've ever met. But no, it was me and my partner. We lent on each other, and we needed to. It was a tough time, but it makes for this time so much more special.
You've been around the AFLW since its inception. Do you feel as though you had the support to become a mother in the first season compared to now? What do you think the support for mothers in the W is like now?
Now it is, I can obviously speak on behalf of Freo, it is phenomenal. Like, I felt very looked after. They did things for me that I didn't even think about, especially like post-birth. I didn't even realise the people that you have to see to tick things off. I was just like, yeah, I'll come back, don't worry about it. But even going through it, like they had me at the club, they had me in everything. So in that sense, we are just far beyond what we were in year one. I don't know what it would have been like then giving birth, but now, amazing, so looked after.
Turbo, it's such a huge conversation because, as we know, we've spoken about it in the NRLW, every sport, netball. It is such a huge conversation topic because finally women's sport is getting the media coverage, probably getting closer to the media coverage it deserves. And people are starting to talk about these issues that women have had to think about for so long. And when you go through something like IVF, obviously there is a lot more to that. It's not just, I'm 12 weeks pregnant and I will eventually have some time off and then I'll come back. There is a whole emotional and physical impact for that. How do you navigate something like having to inject hormones and deal with all of that while you're also trying to maintain being an athlete?
God, I don't even reckon you could give the answer. I think we're so lucky as females. I count myself lucky that I'm a female and able to go through the birthing process. Like I would hate to be a male and not be able to experience it. So I kind of see it as like we're so lucky that I even get the chance to do it. So yes, it is so hard and juggling going to work and then training and no one knowing what you're going through. But luckily I had a partner that's very, very supportive. So she saw me crying a lot. But I think in that it's just, I always saw it as we're so lucky. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to embrace this because at the end of it, and we're very lucky, you get an amazing little boy or girl. So I'm counting myself lucky.
Now, we will be mindful not to only ask you about parenting. Is there anyone from the club that you would have babysit your children? And is there anyone, more importantly, from the club you wouldn't have babysitting your children?
I would easily have Webby, our coach, and Braz, because they also have kids. There is the only one that doesn't have a kid. Mullers is really good. She looks after my 5-year-old. He adores her. So I'd have her. I probably wouldn't have Gabby O'Sullivan because she would probably feed even Luca a whole bag of lollies or something.
As
so
she
maybe
should.
not Gabby O'Sullivan.
Well, they've got 30 aunties, and as an auntie myself, that is our job to load them up with sugar.
Exactly right. You need to undo the hard work that the parents have done. That's the rules.
Let's get into the season, though. A good first win, tough first loss. How are you finding that with the team at the moment, with that, I guess, juxtaposition of the two matches that you've already had this season? Is the morale high still after the loss on the weekend?
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, the first win's good to get off the starting blocks, but obviously last week was disappointing. But we obviously went into review and we looked at it. It was things we could change. It was, not breakdown of structure or game plan. It was breakdown of just effort. So in that sense, it's obviously bad to lose that way, but we can turn that around really fast. And we've dealt with that on Monday, and now it's looking forward to North Melbourne this week and changing things around.
How do you attack something like a breakdown in effort? Because you can very easily address a breakdown in game plan. Something in effort is probably a bit more mental. How do you approach that for next week?
A good way to approach it is getting vision of it. We obviously got vision of us not chasing, not being first in, first out of a contest. When you see it, you're playing it and you think you're doing it. When you actually get vision of it and you're like, oh, I never want to see that again. So I actually think it's easier to change something like that than it is game plan. So I hopefully there's a big change in our team this week.
So how about some of the young kids coming through? Again, you've been there since the start. What's the talent pool looking like coming through with this new age of players, and do you feel as though the future's very bright?
Oh, 100%. I think round one we saw that with all teams, but specifically for us, I have tried to mark something against Georgia Brisbane, and there is absolutely no chance I'll be able to. She is a genuine gun, can kick 50 metres and pretty much hits the goals every time. So I'm scared for the competition, what it's going to look for in the future.
Now, I've heard from a little birdie that you've taken one of the youngsters under your wing, Eastie, little big sister, little sister combo there. Tell us about what she's like.
Oh, she's got to hear this, no doubt. But she's actually the most genuine human, like genuine person. We will never say a nice word to each other's faces.
I'm definitely sending this personally to her then. Go on.
I respect the hell out of her. She kind of plays like me in the fact that we're both short, we've both got short kicks, but one-on-one, you will find it hard to verse us because we will put everything into it. And I love going up against her because she's a genuine gun.
You're in a unique position where you've been around the entire time that the league has. You've seen it develop so much, but you also have had a year off to have your family. So coming back, have you noticed a difference? I mean, I'm sure you were very much involved still in the club and the league when you had your time off, but it would appear, and we spoke about on the podcast last week, it really feels like things have gone up a whole nother level, even just in the 2 rounds that we've already seen this season. Have you noticed a big jump, or is there something that you've seen sort of taking a step back while you were pregnant with Luca to see that things have really shifted in the last couple of years?
Yeah, I think what someone asked me this the other day, and what I've noticed is the gap between your top players in the team and the girls that are just getting a game. There's not much jump anymore. Across the board, the teams are, they're pretty bloody good in the fact that you don't have the standouts and then the girls that are just getting a game. Like, everyone's fighting for a spot. I know when I was coming back, I was genuinely nervous. Like, am I going to get a spot? And it's a good feeling. Like, that's what you want. That's what we wanted previously. You want to be fighting for your spot because then your team's going to be working their butt off. So that's what I found is the teams are just really, really working hard, and they're hard to beat.
Now, you are known as an absolute tackling machine. You're one of the hardest players in the league, and that's no new news to anybody here. Why do you not wear a mouthguard?
quick question.
I played hockey for 20 years. Not a single thing happened to my teeth. I played footy for 3 months and I knocked my front teeth out. You're crazy.
I know, and now that you've jinxed it, if anything happens to me, it's on you.
Touch wood.
I obviously I love exercise, and I've always exercised with a chewy in my mouth.
Yeah.
So now
Also,
it
what's
isn't-
with that?
I can't not train or run. I just get like a dry mouth. So have you ever tried to chew a chewy while having a mouth guard? It doesn't work. So I've gone with the habit in chewing a chewy so I don't get a dry mouth.
All right.
Have
over
you
my
ever
mouth guard.
accidentally inhaled the chewy?
Yes, but our amazing woman Ashley Renshaw carries a packet of chewies for me, and she gives me a fresh one at half time.
She's the one giving me a lot of little insights here. She's got there's a lot of little quirks going on at Fremantle. Certain people like certain lollies. You always have to have a pack. If you don't have an extra sponsorship by the end of the season, they're missing a trick. I'll email them for you. I take 10%.
I know it's a horrible habit, so I agree with everyone. It's a horrible habit.
It's
that I can't
working.
get
You
out of
can't stop now. You cannot stop now. It's too late. Now, you are known as Turbo. Tell us where that nickname came from.
It honestly, there's no backstory to it. I just got it one year because we did a 2K time trial and I won it. But if you see me verse anyone in a 100-meter sprint, like I'm at the back, I'm not fast. It's more just on the endurance side of it. So it probably shouldn't be turbo. It should just be long run person.
That sounds heaps better.
Imagine down the wing hearing that.
I'll email Jace Bennett and just let him know.
Long run.
Yeah, well, nailed it. And also, you can't give yourself your own nickname.
That's the. I was when you said there's no background, I was like, she's given herself this one.
Nah, you would never ever hear me give myself that nickname. No. Whenever a new person comes to the club, they always I introduce myself as Kiara, and then the girls just laugh like, "That's not your name."
Cue the song. That's not my name. Anyway.
Oh, that's a good song. Well, on that note, Kiara, thank you so much for joining us. We know you are very
long run person.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us. We know you have a very busy life at the moment, and all the best with the rest of the season, the game this weekend, and life with little Luca.
Nah, thank you guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Turbo. Well, Cesar, who are we keeping tabs on? Which is all brought to you by Tab. Who are we keeping tabs on this week?
This week, Jazzy Garner. We mention her all the time because we should. So because someone should. 31 disposals, 6. I repeat, 6 goals.
She's a star.
It's laughable how good she is, but we're keeping tabs on the fact that she never gets votes.
So so we're keeping tabs on Jazzy Garner, but more so the umpires in this match.
Their vision. We're Specsavers.
Are they going to keep votes? Are they going to give her votes? Or are they going to give it to Ash Riddell, who had 43 disposals in the same match? Often steals votes off of her. So I'm bookmarking this match, bookmarking this round to see if she does not get 3 votes in this match. She got the perfect 10 coaches vote. If she doesn't, I will riot. This TV will... I won't do anything to it.
All right, we will storm the AFL.
I will storm the AFL. So keeping tabs on the umpire, Jazzy Garner, and her voting situation in this round 2 match where she had 6 goals and 31 disposals. That's all brought to you by Tab.
Games this weekend. We're only going to touch on a couple. Bottom of the ladder. It is Port Adelaide versus Gold Coast Suns. This is relevant because of the discussions we've already had today about there being quite a discrepancy between the top teams and the bottom teams.
Disappointing Port last week.
I thought they were going to be a lot better than they were.
Yeah, I mean, they made a prelim last year, didn't they? They won 8 matches in a row. Very disappointing. And I think just another reminder, and we spoke about it in the first episode, that we think that North Melbourne and Brisbane are far away the 2 best sides. Brisbane showing that on the weekend and North Melbourne obviously showing that as well. So hard there, but I thought that was very disappointing, that match for Port Adelaide.
Yeah. So
Gold Coast, also very disappointing.
Yeah.
Got absolutely belted They should have a few new inclusions. I think Katie Lynch, the All-Australian halfback that they recruited, has been injury-riddled since being up there. They've not got bang for buck from her at the moment. She hopefully will be joining back, so a little bit of leadership and depth there for the Suns. But
they've got a few young'uns, which I think that would be the appeal to watching a game like this, is because both of these teams are not having much luck at the moment. I think it will actually be an opportunity for them to put forward the teams that they want to without as much stress and pressure, and we can see the young ones have a run around.
And Lozanel's always had an attacking first mindset, so I'd like to see that, which is the Port Adelaide coach, I'd like to see Port Adelaide continue that, what they did last year. They just took the game on, and we saw one of the most exciting matches of the year last year, Port Adelaide in in their semi-final. So look, I think Port Adelaide will win that one, and hopefully they play a more Port Adelaide brand that we want to see from them in that match.
For sure. 3AW will be calling Western Bulldogs versus Hawthorn on Saturday night at 7:15. We will be at Whitten Oval. Producer Amelia will be on the boundary. I'll be part of the call team. Very much looking forward to that one. I love games at Whitten Oval. I'm looking forward to seeing the Hawks play and the Western Bulldogs. I actually think that we might see quite an even competition here. I'm looking forward to seeing the Doggies come out firing. I think they will have a bit of a fire in their belly to try and prove something.
Yes. I think Hawthorn, if there's a serious side, should put the foot down in this match. But
yeah, I think I don't anticipate that the Doggies will win. Let me clarify that. But I do think that they will be very much feeling like they have something to prove after having beaten North Melbourne in pre-season games, feeling pretty confident coming into it and then not having a great start.
And at home, which can be very difficult to play there at Whitten Oval with the breeze. And Hawthorn are a side that like to move the ball by foot. So will that breeze affect them down there? And I think it's meant to be wild weather this weekend as well. So could really even up that match. And another one you're looking forward to as well, Sezzy?
Yep, I'm looking forward to watching Brizzy versus My Blues on Sunday at 5:05.
Didn't Brisbane just go, hey, round one was an oops.
Yeah.
And they just go,
see ya.
Oh, they are just such an impressive side.
Yeah.
They never, they're never faced, whether it be in a game, but after a loss, they for me is so impressive.
They've just got it nailed because they've had such a consistent team. Yeah. They know what they're doing. They're just they're far removed. I feel like they're in their own little. It's like that Springfield bubble, literally, like in The Simpsons. They're literally like, nothing will penetrate us.
It's just Jade Ellinger just coming in on a skateboard. Yeah, anyway, I'm tired. Anyway, I got to go to bed.
Yeah, producer Amelia's telling us Georgie is sleep deprived. I don't have an excuse for why we've rambled so much. But please, thank you for listening. Please follow AFLW Weekly wherever you get your podcast, wherever you're listening now. Follow us on Instagram and get involved with AFLW Weekly. We love to hear your feedback. Slide into our DMs. Email us. We love to chat about any of these topics. Thank you so much for listening.
Go Crowies.